Levin Sword Emblem 12, Hard Levin Sword, Levin Sword percent growths, Chapter 20x. I stole that joke from Don Don, but it's just too funny. This is a very challenging chapter, but the challenge comes from stupid design rather than presenting a challenging puzzle. It's tight corridors with longbow snipers hidden in fog of war that you can't see when they're attacking you, ambushes that don't pull until you waste your turn revealing them, the boss has a meteor tome. It's all just very annoying and not fun. The one positive thing about it, I will say, is that there are no reinforcements. So you're under no time constraint whatsoever. There's no thieves either stealing valuable loot or running away with star shards. And that's good, because while I am always playing as fast as I can, this chapter ends up being kind of slow and methodical just by necessity, especially since you're only allowed 7 units. This map has a bunch of snipers and berserkers, which have relatively high base crit, which can randomly cause resets, and that sucks. But that's also exactly what allows me to control them, using the luck bond. I'm not entirely sure how enemies choose between Katarina and Zane when they're identical, but it's certainly not consistent, whatever it is. However, because the luck bond is independent of Zane's imitation, I'm able to control which one is prioritized due to having lower luck. So that's an incredibly powerful use for a consumable that mostly sounds worthless on paper. I had originally planned to use the luck bond on Katarina, which is why she started with it, but that doesn't end up working, and I'll explain why when it comes up. Recall from Chapter 13x that the fog of war in this game is revealed 2 tiles ahead of a unit, so if Midia were in position here to get hit by the longbow across the wall, that sniper would not be revealed. I have to use 2 units just to see this guy. One to draw the aggro, and one to be the spotter/killer for next turn. Katarina needs to dodge one of these 2. Their hit chance against her on the pillar is like 60-something. It only takes a few minutes of resets. And these crits are not necessary at all. Katarina was just feeling crazy that day. I had planned to finish off these berserkers on player phase with lady swords, and I'll put my units in position for that kill anyway. Keep in mind that if only Zane had been over here on the left, the sniper would just be 1 tile back, and I still wouldn't have been able to see him. The luck bond is responsible for making Midia the more appealing target, of course. She's got 9 luck, and with 2 on top of Zane copying Katarina, he's at 10. I'm going to take a minute here to talk about Midia. She has one of my favorite portraits in this game. Her color palette is absolutely gorgeous, but of course she's deeply in love with Astrum, so that's nothing new for me. She's an excellent swordmaster at base, at least in the context of this run. She's got 1 higher strength and 2 higher speed than Leiden, which basically dethrones him as our physical combat master, except that he can use the Mercurius, so they're both going to be relevant in different situations for the rest of the run. For this chapter, though, her speed prevents her from being doubled, and Leiden has too much luck for this strat anyway. Now, there's 2 more berserkers up here, and they won't pull until you've revealed one of them, so we're going to run the luck scam again, making sure the closer one goes for Katarina's lower luck at his max range, leaving Zane healthy enough to fight the second one. This is part of what I meant about playing slowly, that you can't just run head first into a 1 tile wide hallway, right? All we can do is just take it 1 step at a time. The lovely Midia picks up a lady sword kill, which also positions her to pull another longbow sniper into that little 1 tile pocket to the left. But again, we wouldn't be able to see that sniper on that tile unless a spotter is standing next to the wall. And like before, we need to run the luck scam to make sure the sniper goes for Midia instead of the spotter. Seriously, fuck this chapter. And of course, the value of having 2 healers is pretty obvious. Again, I'm just stuck playing slowly. I have to spend this whole turn just killing the sniper and healing up. I didn't crit either of the snipers in this chapter with FE7, and there's a 3rd one as well, which goes back to what I said last chapter, that you need to get lucky somewhere. You can't just double everything, so it's either like crit the heroes in 20 or crit the snipers in 20x, and I crit plenty of heroes back in 20, so we're okay. This hallway right here is maybe the most difficult location in the game, and all the key ideas for this chapter come together here. First is combining Zane's second imitate with spotting the first general, so Katarina had to already be in position for that imitate. Now, doubling this general with FE7 is not a kill, so this has to be a crit, non-negotiable. And for whatever stupid reason, they gave this general a droppable vulnerary, which allows me to convoy warp FE7 after filling up Katarina's inventory from Zane. Now Zane is currently in range of a longbow sniper in that room to the right, while Katarina is in range of a second spear general and another longbow sniper to the left. So Katarina is 100% dead in this spot. We have to kill the second general. So a little convoy trade chain gets the FE7 to Zane, and miraculously Feena is safe in this spot. Midia serves as the spotter, and we need another non-negotiable crit. Militia has a level up on standby, so you can get a second chance at this crit if you need it. But this turn is just awful, and I had to reset here a few times. You really start to miss the geosphere right away. This little room is still even more awful than I've described, because if you kill that second general, you are now also in range of a tomahawk berserker. The absolute only way to survive this enemy phase is for the incoming longbow sniper to target whoever killed the first general further in the back, because they're out of range of the tomahawk berserker. And now the berserker can just attack whoever he wants. That was definitely the most important instance where I needed Katarina and Zane to have different luck, so that Katarina would get targeted in the back by the sniper. This little room is still even worse than I've described, because there's yet another longbow sniper north of the wall, and the boss's meteor tome hits its max distance at the center tile here, so we really don't have anywhere to maneuver. To solve this, I'm going to kill this sniper by doubling with FE7. That was the third one I was talking about, still not critting for some reason. But I don't have enough uses to spend on the berserker as well. So I just make sure all 3 swordmasters have a Levin sword equipped. I chip him down with a normal Levin sword, and then we'll let him suicide into his target of choice on enemy phase. I want to point out that this didn't cost me any turns. I have to move all 3 swordmasters together on this turn anyway, so killing the berserker on previous player phase wouldn't have done anything. I think that was the first time I've done 2 fortifies on the same turn. You'll love to see it. So yes, perhaps the most difficult situation to solve in the entire run. I was the most convinced I've ever been that the run was bricked here. Now the goal here is to continue without ever pulling the longbow sniper north of the wall. There's another general over here guarding the treasure room, so Zane's going to spot him for us, and Katarina will be able to block, but only after being dance extended. This general has a spear though, so if either Katarina or Zane gets hit by the boss's meteor, they're dead to the spear. So we need Midia to move her max range to just barely avoid the hidden sniper and be able to soak meteor for us. This is also why Katarina needed to physically block the general from being able to reach Midia. Midia soaks the meteor. Meteor Midia. I guess that makes this video Meteor Midia Media. That's fun. Anyway, the only reason any of our swordmasters are alive after this enemy phase is because we killed that sniper back on turn 1. Because of his starting position, that was the only way to pull him before reaching here. So that's what that was all about. Zane didn't need to crit here. I'm going to double fortify anyway, so it would have been fine if he got countered. There's one more general we need to pull, so that our swordmasters can be close enough to reach the boss. Midia needs to be 1 tile away from Katarina in this position to be in range of spotting the boss next turn, but be careful that she's not on the pillar. That extra 10 avoid from the pillar would cause the boss to meteor Katarina instead. I double fortify with Yumina to get her in range of a level up next turn for a potential RNG reset. In perhaps the most significant act of mercy in this game's design, this general does not have a spear like the others, so he can't kill Midia. He just attacks Katarina at 1 range instead. This fortify isn't needed, but Katarina has to crit one of her 2 attacks on the boss with FE7, and I didn't get it originally, but by loading the save state and then getting this level up with Yumina to change the RNG, you get a second chance, and I got it. The inclusion of just 1 save tile would have mitigated 90% of the frustration with this chapter, and I will never understand why they didn't do it. They've given you more than 1 save tile on much easier chapters. It's just crazy to me. But hey, at least there weren't any reinforcements, right? Thanks for watching.